Who would have thought that a quiet act of kindness on a crowded flight would change a man's life forever? If you believe in fate, in the power of compassion, then stay till the end, because what happened to this single dad veteran will leave you speechless. And if this story touches your heart even once, don't forget to hit like and subscribe for more real, powerful human moments like this one. It all started on a rainy Tuesday morning at the Denver airport. Jack Miller, a single dad and former Marine, was standing in line, holding a worn leather duffel and his old Marine Corps cap. He looked tired, not just from the early flight but from years of carrying a quiet pain. His late wife, Emily, had passed away 3 years earlier from cancer, and since then, every breath felt like a mission to keep going, for his 8-year-old daughter, Lily. Jack had been upgraded to first class as a thank you from the airline for his military service. It was a rare stroke of luck for a man who'd learned to survive on coffee and cheap motel rooms while working construction jobs across the state. He looked forward to sleeping for a few hours before heading home to his daughter, who was waiting at their small cabin near the woods outside Montana. As the passengers began boarding, Jack noticed a young woman near the gate who was trembling. Her face and neck were scarred, burn marks that spoke of a trauma few could imagine. People avoided looking at her, whispering under their breath. She clutched a medical folder in one hand and looked terrified to board. Jack saw the fear in her eyes, the same kind he'd seen in wounded soldiers being airlifted out of combat. When the attendant called her name, she froze. Jack stepped forward without hesitation. "Miss," he said softly, "you can take my seat. I'll sit in the back." The woman's eyes widened. "No, please, I couldn't." But Jack had already handed his boarding pass to the attendant. "She's got more need for that seat than I do." For the next 2 hours, Jack sat in the cramped last row of economy, knees pressed against the seat in front of him, ignoring the turbulence and noise. He didn't know her name. He didn't need to. He just hoped she felt human again for a while. When the flight landed, the woman approached him near baggage claim, tears streaming down her scarred face. "Sir, my name's Hannah. I was a firefighter. I got burned pulling a kid out of a burning house last year. I've been hiding ever since. But you made me feel seen again." Jack smiled softly. "You're a hero, Hannah. You just forgot for a bit." They exchanged a handshake, rough palms, both marked by fire and sacrifice, and went their separate ways. Jack went home to his quiet cabin, fed the chickens, and sat on the porch with Lily as the sun dipped behind the mountains. He didn't tell her much, just said he met someone brave today. The next morning, he heard a thunderous roar that shook the valley. Lily ran out, pointing at the sky. "Daddy, there's a helicopter. Not just any helicopter. It was Marine One, the president's helicopter." Dust swirled as it landed right beside his cabin. Jack shielded Lily with his arm as 2 Secret Service agents approached, followed by a man in a Navy suit. "Mr. Miller," the agent said, "the president would like to speak with you." Jack blinked. The president. Moments later, a tall figure stepped out of the helicopter, his hand raised in greeting. It was the President of the United States, himself a Marine veteran. He walked up to Jack with a warm smile. "Son, you gave up your seat yesterday for Hannah Brooks. You probably didn't know this, but she's my niece." Jack froze. The world seemed to stop. "She told me about your kindness," the president continued. "About how you treated her like a person when so many turned away. You reminded her what courage and compassion look like, and frankly, you reminded me what this country is supposed to stand for." Jack swallowed hard, words failing him. Lily clung to his hand, looking up at the important man in awe. The president smiled at Lily. "You've got one good man for a dad." Then he turned back to Jack. "I don't usually do this, but you've earned it. We'd like to honor you at the Marine Corps Gala next month. And, I think there's a job waiting for you at the VA. Your service isn't done yet." Tears welled in Jack's eyes. "Sir, I didn't do it for recognition." "I know," the president said, placing a hand on his shoulder. "That's what makes it matter." As Marine One lifted off again, the sound faded into the wind. Jack looked down at Lily, who was still waving excitedly at the sky. "Daddy," she whispered, "Mom would be proud." Jack smiled, eyes glistening. "Yeah, sweetheart, I think she would." That evening, he sat on the porch again, watching the sunset melt into gold. The wind carried the faint echo of rotor blades, like a salute from heaven. For the first time in a long while, Jack felt peace. He wasn't just a veteran, or a single dad trying to survive. He was a reminder, to the world and to himself, that kindness, no matter how small, could move mountains.